Okay, this is where I'm at the moment. I feel like things go really well and then they stop going well. And I'm trying to figure out what makes things go well and what makes things go poorly. And it seems to be things go well when I'm not focusing on trying to make things go well, but instead I'm focusing on making my body feel good. As in, I'm taking care of myself, I'm doing loving kindness meditation, I'm being present, I'm staying restful, I'm staying detached, I'm not riddled with craving or anxiety or restlessness. My only priority is to make the body feel good and to make the body feel calm, to stay connected to a feeling of holiness that you can only be connected to in a state of rest. It's like a state of higher relaxation. Things go wrong when desire arises. Desire creates like a tension in the body, and it creates restlessness. And I end up in a state of lack where I'm trying to add things to myself. I'm trying to increase my self-worth or expand my sense of self by doing. And I lose sight of being. And I think that my being has to be improved by my doing. And then it's like I get disconnected from the power source and my battery drains continually. And then I can fall into this state where I just recharge the battery enough to go compulsively engage with the external world again. But I feel like the optimal way to live is one where you don't fall into that perspective where you see the external world as the source of your salvation and you're in a state of lack and you're trying to build yourself up by doing, by experiencing, by stimulating yourself, by seeking, by having these goals, by tying your sense of wholeness to the achievement of something or to get somewhere. You're kind of chasing your tail, you're chasing rainbows, you're just always desiring. When I cease that and I say, fuck it, I don't want anything. I don't give a fuck how anything goes. I'm done. I don't give a shit. I surrender. I don't know what's going on. I don't think that would bring me happiness. The way I'm living has brought me back to this state where my battery is back down to 5%. I feel disconnected from God. I don't feel enthusiasm. I don't feel passion. I feel scattered, and I feel like my days are just melting away again. And then I do the whole surrender. I go into my body, my heart opens, I feel love for myself and for all of humanity, and I feel a sense of wholeness. I feel very present. And I don't feel like I live in this state where I know that my wholeness and my happiness are not dependent upon anything external at all, and the most important thing for me is to care for my being and to live connected to the Holy Spirit, or whatever you want to call it, to keep the Kundalini high, to keep that inner energy high, so that I move in this way where I'm prioritizing above all else how I am feeling in this present moment, which is highly dependent upon my biology. So it becomes a lot about rest when you need to rest, don't keep doing when your body is requesting to stop, leaving gaps between activities, becoming more intentional, obviously doing the bare minimum for the body, like eating right, not eating too close to bed, getting good sleep. A lot of it is positive thought as well, to make the body feel like it's safe and in a good environment and that it's loved. So yeah, it becomes about this, you get things aligned internally, and then outwardly everything flows really nice. Everything doesn't go very well when I start thinking, if I can rearrange out there, then I'll feel good in here. And I don't know why I still fall into this illusion over and over again, because I've seen it so many times. I've watched my life go to shit when I live this way, and I've watched it become beautiful when I go this way. I don't know why. I don't just keep going the right direction when I see that it's working. I don't understand at what point does... I don't know. It's like when I live right, this energy accumulates and I start realizing, oh my God, I could have everything I've ever wanted. And then it's like I start focusing too much on, oh my God, I'm going to have these things that I wanted for so long. I can't believe it. I'm going to have them. And then the ego comes alive and it's like, we're going to have them. Wow. Think about what this will mean for our social status or our opportunities or our power. Think about how people will see us. This all arises again. It's like jet fuel for the ego. And then I fall into a lower frequency because I'm saying there's something wrong about where I am right now, and there's something that I can get that will benefit me, or I'll be more whole when I get there. And it becomes like almost this, I have to, I like start pushing myself, and then I don't. It's like what the Bhagavad Gita says, like the optimal way to live is one where you do your work and you do it properly, but you don't do it with any care for the result. Like you don't give a shit. You're not in it for what you're going to get out of it, because you realize that nothing can be added and nothing can be taken away, that we are all the same being. Consciousness is just one. There's only one of us in this whole world, in this whole universe. There's only one of us. Nothing can be added, nothing can be taken from you. The only thing of true value is your connection to Source, which you can never lose. So I guess the only true thing of value on this relative plane is whether or not you're living in alignment with that truth, whether or not you're aware of it. And then you're just in bliss. There's permanent love and bliss consciousness. Because you're not seeking. You're not perpetually craving. You're not always lacking. You're living from a state of wholeness and bliss. You're fully in the world but not of it. You're not being pushed and pulled by the strings of your conditioning. You've gone above the biology. You've gone above the collective psychology. You abide in truth and presence. In union with God. No longer identifying automatically with the mind activity. Realizing that everything is perfect. You didn't need to rearrange anything out there to feel what you were seeking. Everything is already here. Everything has already happened. There's like a dove or a pigeon on the light pole outside. To live perpetually in the present moment. You kind of have to surrender, and you have to have faith. Because it can be scary to the ego. It can be unnerving. It's all there is, the present moment. And living in the present moment is the only sane thing to do. But it is scary, at least at first. It's an entirely different way of being. The ego, default consciousness, is one where we're living perpetually just one layer back from reality. You don't actually see and experience everything raw. It's like you've got this layer over you. It's like a filter. You don't see a camera. You don't see the shape of the camera and the reflection on the lens. You don't see all the details. You just look, and then it's this really low resolution thing, and your brain just says camera. The world gets translated into little low resolution symbols. So it's like we live in this virtual world in our imagination where everything is something we understand. Everything is something that we've labeled, categorized, downgraded into this tiny little thing. We live in this world that we dream up through perpetual thinking. But you miss all of reality. You miss most of it. You even miss yourself. Because in the same way that you end up with these lower resolution symbols of what reality actually is, you also end up yourself as a lower resolution symbol of what you are. Lower self, higher self, ego, spirit. Ego, Atman. There's so many words to describe this idea that there's a higher self and a lower self. From my subjective experience, that is true. When I am perpetually thinking, bouncing from one thing to another, I think I am my reactions and my opinions and my thoughts. And I feel a sense of safety in living that way because it's familiar and the brain can predict it. I can predict it. I'm like, oh, this is that part where I eat the food while I'm doing this, or this is the part where I shower while I'm thinking this, or this is the part where I'm doing this. This is the part where I'm experiencing this and having this reaction. And we have these familiar circuits and we want to keep going around them because our brains basically started to realize that the more we can predict our days, the less likely we are to die. So it's like we have a gravitational pull to go into this way of living instead of living life raw. But when I live manually, making every decision fresh, I feel alive, truly alive. I feel awake, and it feels like I've come out of a dream. And the way I'd been living before was truly like a dream. And it felt like a waste of time almost, like I wasn't fully there, I was just half awake. But then, when I'm rooted in presence, I've surrendered and I'm experiencing everything fresh. I make decisions from this kind of inner place. I make decisions spontaneously. My decisions, when I'm living in the ego, in the autopilot, the decisions they're arising from the past. This is why in Hinduism they call it living like a karmic wind-up toy. You know, where you like crank something over and over again and then like the little toy walks along? Well, its behaviors are decided by those cranks. You see? It's predetermined. It's not alive. It's not sentient. It doesn't have free will. It's not making its decisions fresh in each moment. And when I'm living on ego, I'm doing certain things because I did them yesterday. I'm doing certain things because I did them last year. I'm doing certain things because of the thing I did 10 minutes ago. Like, everything is a result of what came before. And of course that is just part of reality, but there is this difference where when I'm present, I'm rooted in stillness. I feel like I have more free will. It feels like my soul has the wheel and is awake and alert. And what we do next is a surprise because we haven't decided yet. And that can be unnerving. I don't know what 10 minutes from now looks like. And I feel this sense of security when I know my day is just on autopilot. But I don't feel alive when my day is on autopilot. I feel alive when I'm rooted in presence, you know? When I'm in the body. When I use thoughts instead of just having them on all the time like the radio in the background, dulling and dimming my consciousness, automatically identifying with the constant flow of mind activity. I'd rather be in the body. I'd rather be now in the present moment. I want my baseline to be the stillness. You know, I don't know. What do you mean? I do know. I do know. It's about being conscious. It's about being the context within which content arises. Having free will over whether or not there is content arising. Having free will over whether or not you're paying attention to the content. If you have established these things, then you don't fall into identifying with content being mind activity. And when you're not automatically identifying with mind activity, you're the space in which it arises. You are the context within which the content arises. The context feels like the spaciousness. Kind of feels like you're your body and you're the space around your body as well. And there's no tension in the body. Everything feels kind of, I don't know. It feels, my tendency in these moments is to say it feels like mushrooms. Feels like the end of a psychedelic trip. But I know not everyone has that experience. Feels like freedom. Feels like sanity.